Hi everybody, this is Mr. Doron here, and in this video I'm going to show you a study guide in preparation of a chapter test on the circle. You'll notice I'm a little bit sick, but that doesn't stop me from working. The first step is to open up the question, and I'm going to notice, excuse me, that there is the question booklet where it tells me not to answer it there, and the answer booklet where I put all my answers over here. And I'll notice quickly that it's out of 20 points, this whole test. Multiple choice is 5 points, and I'll see some of the short answer questions worth 2 or 3 points, and a long answer worth 3 points over here. So if ever I'm running out of time, I'm really going to try to focus on the ones that have 3 points. And I'll make sure I do not leave anything blank, because I know Mr. Doron offers part marks. He's such a nice guy. Okay, multiple choice, 1 point each. There's only one correct answer for each question. Choose the best answer. The circumference of a circle is 113.04 centimeters. What is the radius of this circle? So I'll grab my pencil. I have my scientific calculator that I'm always working with, and I'm gonna write down the important information here. So C is equal to 2 pi r. The circumference of the circle is 113.04 is equal to 2 times 3.14 and then times r. My next line is 113.04. 2 times 3.14. I often on a test, I never really want to take any chances, and I really put everything on a calculator. 2 times 3.14, although I know it's 6.28, but I just really want to double check and make sure everything is good. 113.04 is equal to 6.28 r. That's where we last left off. I'm going to divide both sides by 6.28 so I can isolate r. I'm going to put r on the left hand side, and on my calculator I'm going to do 113.04 divide by 6.28. I'll get a nice clean answer of 18, and I'll notice that answer is A, right over there. Boom. So that is done, and on my multiple choice answer booklet, what I would do, there's only one correct answer, so I'm just going to sort of shade out A. Okay, next, I'm going to go to the next question, number 2. Given the area of a circle is 800.48 centimeters squared, find their circumference. Okay, well, I know A is equal to pi r squared, okay? And one of the reasons and one of the ways I know that is that I go religiously, don't want to make this into a religious class, but I go into my lesson plan, and I look for stuff that has really helped me along the way, and I try to make sure that Mr. Doron, his links and efforts are not going are going to good use. Okay, so I'll look at the lesson plan carefully, and I'll notice things like a memory aid. Okay, you're allowed for a test a different color memory aid, and I'm going to notice this was algebra, this was algebraic equations. Oh, look at that. I'm on the circle right here. And this is really the important formulas that you have. C is equal to 2 pi r, so it's right here. C is equal to pi d. A is equal to pi r squared. You're going to notice a newer one that we're going to have will be this one here. Arc length over circumference is equal to central angle over 360. It's equal to, look at that, area of the sector over area of the circle. You're really going to notice it's always part over whole. Okay, that basically means small over big. Arc length is the smaller one. I'll show you a little bit more about that eventually. Over the circumference, the whole circle. Central angle is part angle of a circle. Over 360 degrees in a circle. And the area of a sector over area of a circle. So, and what I would really suggest for those who are a little bit more ambitious, I would literally take the study guide, because every question is going to be extremely similar to the ones that you see here. And I would do 1 with 1, 2 with 2, 3 with 3, and literally just recopy the whole study guide in my memory aid. This will also help me. Okay, so back to this question here, okay, which is number 2. Given the area of a circle is 800.48, find the circumference. So we were just saying that C is equal to 2 pi r. Okay, we know that as a formula, and we know A is equal to pi r squared. Okay, I kind of look at this like a puzzle. Now, it's trying to tell you, hey, look over here. I need you to find the circumference. But if you notice, you don't know what the circumference is, and you don't know what the radius is. So with 2 unknowns, you can't work with that. So even though it's telling you to look here, what you really need to do is look here. Because in this here, you know what the area is, you know what pi is, 3.14, but you don't know what the radius is. So the reason why I say it looks like a puzzle means it's really start with the area, which is 800.48, is equal to pi 3.14 and then r squared. So solve for the A is equal to pi r squared, find out what the radius is, and then plug it in to the circumference, and you'll be able to figure that out. And all this really comes with experience, and that's why you're looking at this video again and again and again. You really should know this like the back of your hand. And on my scientific calculator, I do 800.48 divided by 3.14. I'm going to get r squared is equal to 254.93. Okay? Now, with this number here, okay, I'm going to do the square root because I don't want to know what r squared is. I want to know what r is. Square root on your calculator. I'm sure I've shown you this and you remember. You push the button and just make sure that it works. And play around. That's why it's good to have your own calculator. You'll get 15.97. You could be off by a little bit, okay? But you'll notice the answer is right here. Now, you'll really excuse me for being so tricky, but as a teacher, we lay in the traps for certain questions, and you'll see other answers. I don't even want to show to you how you can get them, but if you play around with some numbers, I've purposely put in some numbers that can trap you into getting in the wrong answer. So please excuse me, I'm really sorry. Speaking of trap, we just figured out the radius is 15.97. But if you notice carefully, the question asks us, what is the circumference? So at that point, what you need to do is you need to then tell yourself or ask yourself, what is the formula for circumference of a circle? C is equal to 2 pi r. The circumference is equal to 2 times 3.14. And now we just figured out what r is, which is 15.97. On my calculator, I'll do 2 times 3.14 times 15.97. I get an answer of 100.29, always putting in the units, which is centimeters. And therefore,
The answer actually is B.
Okay, number 3. What is the relationship between radius and diameter? Okay, what is the relationship between radius and diameter? So I told you that I'm going to sort of just show you a little bit more about this circle. I've gone into Google. I've just typed in radius and diameter. And this is a really nice one over here. The figures below depict the various parts of a circle. So for the purposes of our course, we're going to mostly look at the left side here. You'll notice here the radius, okay? The radius is in blue, and it just goes from the middle of the circle, okay, all the way to the origin, which is the letter O here. So that's radius, okay? The circumference in black is all the stuff here. So it's in black, all the stuff that goes all the way around the circle. That is the circumference, okay? As a side note, the area of a circle, okay? The area of a circle, we'll take a nice one here like that, and we'll just write area. The area of the circle is all the stuff in the middle. That's all the area of the circle. And in green, you'll notice the diameter of a circle, okay? It's this guy over here, okay? It goes from one side of a circle to the other side of the circle, and it crosses the origin. And basically, the question is, what's the relationship, okay, between the radius and the diameter? And you'll notice the questions that has the diameter is twice the radius is twice the diameter, the radius is half the diameter, or both A and C are correct. And just think about it, because it can get a little bit tricky. The diameter is twice the radius. Is that true? Absolutely. The diameter is twice the radius. The radius is twice the diameter, so that's the opposite. And you'll notice one of the tricks in multiple choice questions is if they're opposites, okay? Usually that means either one of them is right and the other one is wrong. So that can just really narrow it down. So if a question says the answer is even, the answer is odd, well, it has to be one or the other. So it usually means one or the other one is right. If they're both similar, like the answer is above, the answer is higher, then they tend to be both wrong. But if they're complete opposites, one of them is the right answer. I kind of like to do it like this, where I'll just go with my pencil. I'll just pretend to be the teacher that I am here and use my red. The diameter is twice the radius. So we said that was right. The radius is twice the diameter. We said that one was wrong. So right away people are like, oh, you know what? Let me just answer 3A. But go through all of them, because you just never know. The radius is half the diameter, so that's also right. So the other, you have to choose one of them. Both A and C are correct. That is the answer that is the most right. So 3 is D. 3 is D. Multiple choice. Okay. We have 3 is D. Okay. And of course, let's not forget 2 is B. Okay. And of course, 1 was A. Okay, let's move on. Question 4. A circle is inscribed inside a square. Inscribed means it's just in there, okay? Calculate the difference between the area between the square and the circle, okay? So in this case, you're gonna have the area, okay? Please don't make fun of my shapes of a square. The area of a square minus the area of a circle. So the area of a square is really going to be side squared. The area of a square the side here, if you notice, doesn't look like it's giving you much information, but in fact it really is. It's telling you the diameter of the whole circle is 6. But Mr. Doran, we're looking at the square. Okay, well, these things over here, it just kind of tells you that they're equal angles, which basically tells you that each side is going to be 6 centimeters. Each side is 6 centimeters. So you're going to put a 6 there. You can also put a 6 there. And that also means you've got 6 squared. That's the area of the squared, which is 6 squared, 36. Because it's a test, I always put it on my calculator just in case. Now, I'm not done yet because I know area of the squared minus area of the circle. Area of a circle I know is pi r squared. Area of a circle is 3.14 and it's r squared. Okay? Let me just clean this up a little. Make it look a little bit nicer so it's clear for everybody. Area of a circle is 3.14, okay, r squared. Area of a circle is 3.14 r squared, right? So the r, we actually know what the r is. We actually know what the r is. The r is what? And don't tell me 6. The r is 3, okay? Because the diameter is 6, and we know the radius is half the diameter, which is 3. Then on my calculator, I do 3.14 times 9. I get 28.26. 28.26. Okay, I'm not done because basically the bottom line is area of the square minus area of the circle, which is really 36 minus 28.26. 36 minus 28.26. I have 7.74. This is where I pray to God, and I hope that my answer is in there. I always have to add the units in there, and area is always squared. And lo and behold, the answer is in there. It's the letter C. So on my multiple choice, I'm gonna put the letter C. That's for 4. Okay? Next, 5. Question number 5. Given the MAB, so that's the measurement of AB, is equal to 39.25, and the radius is 19.57 centimeters, calculate the area of the circular sector AOB. Okay, for this one, if you remember, okay, we just looked at this, this section where you need to remember basically this formula here, okay? This formula is what you really want to put on your memory aid, okay? And specifically, arc length over circumference is equal to central angle over 360 is equal to the area of the sector over the area of the circle. Again, it's always part over whole. You're going to notice in question number 5, it only asks you for the circular sector, AOB, circular sector. So you know you need this part right here. You know you want this right here. You want this. So if ever you take one of them, the area of the sector, you've got to take the area of the circle. You're sort of committed. You've got to take those two. And the bottom line is you need another 2, okay? Will you take the central angle over 360, or will you take the arc length over circumference? And you'll notice in the question, it gives you the central angle, which is 115. So those are the ones you are going to want to take. So the way you're going to show your work is the following way. I'm on question number 5, and I'm just going to recopy that formula. And that formula states area of the sector over area of the circle is equal to the central angle, a little degree sign, over 360. Now, area of the sector, you don't really know. And the area of the circle, you don't really know. You know it's 115 over 360. The other hint that you have in this question is that it tells you the radius is 19.57. And so if I really want to know the area of the circle, I know A is equal to pi r squared. And then A is equal to 3.14. R is 19.57 squared. A is equal to 3.14 times 19.57 squared. Do that on your calculator. You're going to get 1,202.57. So the area of the sector over the area of the circle is 1,202.57 is equal to the angle is 115. I got the 115 right there, by the way, over 360. Now, this is where you cross multiply. The way that you cross multiply, okay, you're trying to figure out the area of the sector. So I just go on the bottom of that. I take 1,202.57. I cross multiply. Cross multiply means I multiply that by 115. I cross multiply. And then I divide by the number on the bottom of that, which is 360. That's how you do it. Okay? If ever you had A over B is equal to C over D, you wanted to figure out what A is. So I would do B times C divided by D. If I wanted to find out what B is, so I just go on the top. I either go on the top or the bottom to start. So if I want to find out what B is, I go on the top of B, which is A. A times D, I cross multiply. A times D divided by C. If I wanted to figure out what C is, I go on the bottom. The bottom of C is D. I cross multiply. D times A divided by B. And finally, I like to show you every scenario so you know how to get out of everything. Let's say you wanted to figure out what D is. I just go on the top of D. I cross multiply. C times B divided by A. You really should rewind that section so you can get out of everything here. So on my calculator, I do 1,202.57 times 115 divided by 360. I get A, the sector, is equal to 384.15. Okay? Excuse my handwriting. And excuse the fact that the answers are not in here, but they will be. Okay? So you're looking for an answer of 384.15. Okay? And that answer will appear, okay, in the correct version of your study guide and or your test. Okay, moving on. Number 6. Given the circle and the information below, calculate the measurement of MAOB. Okay, so this one looks like it's also missing something, which is this right here. And let us work out of that one. Okay. Given the circle and the information below, so sometimes even I have to read and reread it, even though I've done it many times. So imagine yourselves, when this is the first time you see this, I know it takes time. And as we get into this part here, you'll notice by this time, I've already assigned to you math help services. Okay, the reason why I know that is that I go into my lesson plan, okay, and I look religiously at what I do every week, and I see as we start right here, arc length of a circle. So this has all the notes associated to what I do here, and I know that I kind of go fast here sometimes. And so that's why you should, on your own time, slowly get to know this part over here. See, this slide here tells you how to cross multiply. And you should do each questions over and over and over again until you basically know this like the back of your hand. You do the exercises associated to it, okay? We always go through all the answers as well on the board. And you make sure you have all the right answers. Then you go into the next section, area of a circle and area of a circular sector, excuse me. And so I download the notes. Sometimes, I might want to print it out so I can see it, so I can touch it and feel it. And I can just review this very carefully at your own pace, okay? So that's what I would do if I were you. Math help services, arc of a circle and area of a circular sector. I would go slowly, okay? And I would try to go through each question so that this thing could really make sense, okay? So obviously I'm looking at the teacher's perspective here, so yours looks a little bit different. So here's arc length of a circle. Here's the lesson.
The topic of this interactive video lesson is the arc length of a circle.
So he goes through all this, which is nice. Okay, blah, 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 blah. You go through
Right
this at
side
your own
and divide both sides
pace.
of the equation.
And then you have examples.
Example 1. If the circumference of the circle below is 43.96 centimeters, calculate the measure of arc AB, shown in red. State the information given in the question. So we know the circumference equals 43.96. The measure of angle AOB equals 130 degrees. Step 2. Calculate the measure of arc AB using the following proportional relationship. Arc length over circumference equals central angle over 360. Now let's substitute in the values that we have and solve for the measure of arc AB by cross multiplying. So we cross multiply. Now we need to get the measure of arc AB by itself. So we divide both sides of the equation by 360. And now we just need to simplify the right side. So multiply the brackets in the numerator, divide by 360, and we have the measure of arc AB equals 15.87.
So you go through these, one at a time. You play the lesson. You go through examples.
Example 2.
Example 2, example 3, example 4. And then
Solution to
part
question 1.
of your work is that I give you 5 of these questions here. So you've got this arc length of a circle, and you also have another one, which is called area of a sectoral circle. And it looks something like this. Area of a circular sector, excuse me. Again, you play the lesson. I won't
The
play it
topic
here.
of this interactive video,
And then you've got examples,
example 1.
and
Give
you've got questions and answers.
solution to question.
Go through it. This takes time. This takes time. I can tell you a story or analogy where I just finished a few hours, a Fortnite or a video game, and I think now that I'm very good and I can beat you. And a lot of times, people will laugh at me because you've got 1,000 hours of experience. And so there's no way I'll beat you if I just practice for a few hours. And I think it's the same thing in math or really anything. You've got to take a commitment, and this takes time. So let's get back into what we're doing. Stop with the Mr. Doran speeches, and we're at question number 6. Given the circle and the information below, calculate the measurement of AOB. So for something like this, you're going to need that formula where you had those, let's say we'll call it 6 unknowns, okay? But you'll only need 4 of them, okay? It tells you the first one is you want the measurement of AOB. Measurement of AOB is really the arc, okay? It's the arc. It's from here to here. That's the arc, okay? Over the circumference, so it's small over big, is equal to the angle over 360. So the arc, it tells you, is 25.12. Over the circumference, I don't know. The central angle is 120 over 360. I cross multiply. So I don't like that letter O there. I should have said the letter C. I'm sure you caught me when I did it. Cross multiply. To cross multiply, I want to find out what C is, so I'm just going to go on top of C, which is 25.12, and I'll do 25.12 times 360. I cross multiply, and then I divide by 120. I get the circumference of the circle is 75.36. I look for units. It's one-dimensional circumference, and I'm just going to write centimeters. And I'm done. Answer 75.36 centimeters. Okay, we go to number 7. What is the area of the shaded region in centimeters? Okay, shaded region is the stuff right here. All this is the shaded region. All this stuff is the shaded region. So what is the area of the shaded region? Okay, we've done a bunch of these questions up until now. And basically, the bottom line with this one is that you have the area of the rectangle minus the area of the circle. That is what's going to get you the shaded region. Okay? So the area of the rectangle, okay, is equal to the length times the width. The area of the rectangle is equal to the length is 50 and the width is 20. The area of the rectangle is 1,000 centimeters squared. The area of the circle, what's the formula again? Pi r squared. Area of the circle is 3.14. R is, give me a number, 8. It's right there. Okay, that's where I got the 8. And then I gotta square it. Area of the circle, 3.14 times 8 squared on your calculator is 200.96 centimeters squared. Okay, then I'm gonna do 1,000 minus 200.96, and I'm gonna get 799.04. I'm gonna put that answer in here, and I won't forget the units. 799.04 centimeters squared. Okay, here's a hint for you on your test. Imagine there were 2 circles in there. Hint, hint. You might get 2 circles in there. What would be the shaded area? Okay, so just imagine another circle that looked exactly like the other one here. What would you do in this case? It's really the same idea. It's the area of the rectangle minus the area of the circle, but you multiply that number by 2. So whatever you found as the circle, I would multiply that by 2, and then I would take area of the rectangle minus area of 2 of the circles and get that number. Hint, hint. Okay, next. After 7, I hate numbers, comes 8. Okay, so let's read what Mr. Doran wants from me here. If the measurement of AB is 15.7 centimeters in the circle below, what is the radius of this circle? Okay, so I think about it for a few moments. What if the measurement of AB is 15.7? So anytime you get something like this, it tells you that you're going to use that big formula there, that you only use 4 to the 6 things there, okay? Because it's either the arc length over circumference, area of a sector over the area of a circle, and measurement of the central angle over 360. So in this question over here, I'm going to use the arc over circumference is equal to the central angle over 360. The arc length, they tell you it's 15.7. Over the circumference, what is it? I don't know, so I just put C. The central angle is 45 over 360, and now I cross multiply. C is equal to 360 times 15.7 divided by 45. I get 125.6. Now, what is the radius of this circle? I just figured out what the circumference is. Yeah, but circumference is equal to 2 pi r. The circumference is 125.6 is equal to 2 times 3.14 times r. 125.6 is equal to 6.28 r. Divide both sides by 6.28. 6.28. This is the dyslexia coming out in me, unfortunately. So you get R is equal to a nice clean number of 20. And that's it, excuse me, okay? So the answer there is 20, and I always put units, and I'm done. Okay, after 8 comes 9. For some reason, 9, a lot of students have had issues with this table. So let's take a look at it and make sure you're good to go. Okay, you've got radius, diameter, circumference, and area. Okay, so I know for the radius and the diameter, the relationship is the radius is half the diameter. So if the diameter is 3.4, the radius, I'm just going to divide that by 2. I'm going to get 1.7. I don't even need to show my work for that because it's so obvious. The circumference, so this is how I'll organize my work here. You know, I'll put B here, and just to show my teacher, you know, that I'm doing my work, because no work equals no points. For the circumference here, it's C is equal to, I have a choice between C is equal to 2 pi r or C is equal to pi d. C is equal to pi d. C is equal to 3.14, and the D is 3.4. And then C is equal to 10.68. I'm always putting in my units. Here it's all in centimeters, and area obviously is going to be squared. So speaking of squared, A is equal to pi r squared. Okay, in this case you have no choice to use r. A is equal to 3.14. R we said was 1.7 squared. On your calculator, 3.14 times 1.7 squared, you're gonna get 9.07. So 9.07, and the units is squared. Okay, let me go into my next section over here, okay? I've got 7 inches, okay? Just on top, it was the radius, the diameter, the circumference, and the area. So I know the diameter is gonna be double, so I'm gonna put 14 inches. And the circumference, C is equal to, so I'm gonna put the letter E, show my teacher that I'm nice and organized. Find some space with my pencil. C is equal to 2 pi r. C is equal to 2 times 3.14. And then R we said was 7. C is equal to 2 times 3.14 times 7. You're gonna get 43.96. 43.96, and use the units, inches. Okay, and now we're on to F, G, and H. Okay, 10.27 is the circumference, so you're given. Okay, C is equal to 2 pi r. Okay, I'm gonna figure out what F is. So C is equal to 2 times 3.14. It's like a puzzle. And you're just uncovering step by step. And every time you do something, it becomes easier and easier. And every time you get the right answers and practice, you get more confident. They often said practice makes perfect, but I say practice makes permanence. Perfect practice makes perfection. So practice perfectly here. 2 times 3.14, and R you don't know. So C is equal to 6.28. 6.28. 6.28, and then the R you said you don't know, but the circumference is something that you do know. Okay? I'm sure some of you were screaming at the computer or the phone, saying, Mr. Doron, you made a mistake. You owe me a dojo point. Okay. So the circumference here, as you know, it's 10.27. So I'm going to replace 10.27, okay? I laugh because you either laugh or you cry when you make mistakes. So I try to laugh. You turn a negative into a positive, okay? 10.27 is equal to 2 times 3.14 times r, and I'm just recopying 10.27 is equal to 6.28 r. I'll divide both sides by 6.28, and I'm gonna get R is equal to, these guys are gonna cancel. You're gonna isolate R, fancy words. Don't get discouraged. 10.27 divided by 6.28, you get 1.64. I'm gonna round up. 3.5 will turn into 4. If you look at the second number, 5 or more on the third number, you round it up. 4 or less on the third number, you keep the same for the second number, the second unit. Okay, R is equal to 1.64, and that's the answer to F. Once you figure out 1.64, multiply that by 2, you get 3.28, okay, centimeters. 1.64 centimeters for the radius, and now you're just left with the area. Area is equal to pi r squared. Area is equal to 3.14. R squared we said was 1.64 squared. A is equal to 3.14 times 1.64 squared. Do that on your calculator nice and slowly. 8.45. Use the units, centimeters squared. And I'm done for number 9. Okay, now we're into the long answers, and you've got question number 10. Show your work provided. Given the circle and the information below, calculate the diameter of the circle. Okay, it's the diameter, not the radius. Okay, this, by the way, tells you that the angle is 90 degrees. Okay, so just be careful there too. That tells you that the angle, when you have an angle like this, okay, that tells you that it is 90 degrees. Okay, so something like that you sort of need to know, okay, as a side note. So I read it again. Given the circle and the information, calculate the diameter of the circle. Okay, so it tells you the area of AOB, measurement AOB is 25.12. So that sounds like that's the area of a sector. So that tells you for question number 10, I'm going to use area of a sector. So once I use area of a sector, I've got to use area of a circle. And then I'm going to choose 2 other ones. And the easiest one, obviously, is the angle over 360. Okay, I say the easiest, it's because it's just right there. It's telling you that's 90, it's there. So use it, okay? So now, area of the sector, okay, do I know the area of the sector? This is where, you gotta plug in the numbers, but you gotta plug in the right numbers in the right place. It's either the top or the bottom. The top is the part, and the bottom is the whole. The top is the smaller one, the bottom one is the bigger one. Some of you might be saying, well, I don't know which one's the bigger one. But area of AOB, so this part, the area is this. So is it the question, is it area of the sector or area of the circle? That's the area of the sector. So I'm going to put 25.12. Area of the circle, I don't know. It's actually something I don't know, so I'm just going to write area of the circle. Please don't laugh at my letters. And then 90 over 360. Okay? And then I cross multiply. Okay? I take area of the circle is what I want to find out, so I'm going to go right on top of that. I'll do 25.12 times 360 and divided by 90. I'll get, what will I get? The area of the circle, I'll get 100.48. Am I done? Not in the long answers, that's for sure. Area of the circle is 100.48. It's asking you, what is the diameter? Well, area of a circle is pi r squared. Once I figure out what r is, I'll just double it. So the area is 100.48 is equal to 3.14 r squared. And then I'll divide both sides by 3.14 to isolate r squared. I'll get r squared is equal to 32. I'll take the square root of 32. I get 5.66. The answer, 5.66. Always put the units, centimeters. Okay, on to the last one, which is number 11. Okay, if the circumference of the circle below is 43.96 centimeters, calculate the measurement of AB. Measurement of AB really means the arc. The arc. And if I take the arc, I gotta take the circumference. And then I'm gonna use the other one, which is the angle over 360. So now the arc is something I want to figure out. I want to figure out how much, what's the measurement from here to here. So that's the arc over the circumference. What is the circumference? If the circumference of the circle is 43.96, so 43.96, this is again a case where you got to not only plug in, you have the answers, but you got to plug in the right numbers at the right spot. As they say, you got to be at the right place at the right time. That's the key in life. In this case, you got to plug in the right numbers in the right place. And the angle is 130 over 360. I will cross multiply. 43.96 times 130 divided by 360. I'm going to get 15.87. So the answer is 15.87. Use the units, centimeters. Okay, what else does Mr. Doran want from me? I'm coming to the end. Given another central angle of another circle is 2 less than half this amount. Oh boy. I hate these algebra ones here. How much is it? What is the difference between both central angles? Okay, the other central angle. Well, given another central angle of another circle is 2 less than half the amount. Okay, we're looking at the 130. We're looking at the 130. Half the amount and then 2 less. So what I would do is I would say 130 divided by 2 less 2. 130 divided by 2 is 65. And 65 minus 2 is 63. That's how I get that one. The difference, well, the difference, I would take the higher one minus the lower one. So the difference is 130 minus 63. And I get 67 degrees difference. And that's how you would tackle this study guide, which is going to be very similar to your test. I'm just going to change the numbers. If you're still listening to this, I am truly impressed. What I would suggest, obviously besides getting a good sleep, good night rest, breathing, relaxing, enjoying the process, eating healthy, is that you do this again and again and again. Try to really not only memorize what I'm saying and what we're doing in the steps, but truly understand the process so that it becomes innate, it becomes second nature, and you understand not only this section, but all the sections in math, which can hopefully help you in your life and success. Good luck for your test, and thank you for listening.